literally 5 minutes ago, Alan, who is all the way in America, has just let me know in Tennessee that they've got storms and tornado warnings. So he's not going to be able to join us this evening. So there's a little bit of a change of schedule. I really want to keep the chats about generational wealth for next week, but there's a lot that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening. And then Merle and Adele have been so absolutely incredible in the last 2 weeks. They volunteered to open up our Telegram group every now and then when they've got time. And they literally answer all of the questions that are posed on the Telegram group. So I thought after I finish discussing everything that I need to with everyone, I'm going to give them a little bit of airtime, and we're going to have a small little short Q&A session. So welcome everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Candz, and I have been part of a gifting community for the last 2 years almost. I think November will be 2 years for me. And my goodness, has my life changed. And every day it just keeps getting better and better. So it is wonderful to be here with all of you. So what I'm going to be going through tonight is I'm going to just chat to you about a couple of new developments that are coming up. There's so much that I want to share, but I can't share everything because for those of you that were with us in the 5 months leading up to the launch of GL, there were so many things that we promised and then we couldn't honor those promises, and I will never ever do that again. So whenever we let little kitties out of the bag, it's a definite and sure thing that will be done. But there's two very, very huge and exciting things that will probably happen in the next 4 months, and it is going to change the face of GL, and it's just going to be an amazing user experience because that's what it's all about. And, in the last couple of months, let me just start at the beginning. When we launched on the 10th of January, we weren't ready. We were supposed to launch on the 5th of October. Then it got postponed to November. Then it got postponed to the beginning of December. And then it got postponed to the 20th of December. And then by the 10th of January, we were all just rearing to go that we asked the community actually if they wanted to start with, not a finished program, but a program that worked. And we were just going to go and move things along and include things as we went from the 10th of January. So just to put you into a little bit of perspective, and I'm actually going to play Tim's video just now that he recorded this morning because I thought it was great. And for those of you that haven't shared it or seen it, I'm going to share it with you now. But when we launched, we had 7,900 people that we moved over from the precursor program with us. And, we're not a company. We don't have a CEO and a marketing director and someone that does projections or any of those titles. But we knew that if we were bringing nearly 8,000 people over, we required 16,000 people to be okay, because 16,000 people would be 2 people that come in with each migrator that we took forward. And that would have taken us up to 24,000 people. So that's kind of what we were looking at as a start. And then from those 24,000 people, obviously you double it up. So it would have been 50,000, and then doubling up to 100,000, doubling up to 200,000. So we probably would have been on about 200,000 if things were projected in the way that we thought. And that's how we were working on the program. But of course, we had exponential growth. And in the last 5 months, we've had 400,000 people join. So it was way more than we ever expected. It was absolutely amazing on one hand, because we reached global communities worldwide and people were jumping on and joining. The negative side of that is that so many people were joining so quickly that I would say probably 70% of the people that are actually participating in Gift of Legacy are uneducated, and they don't actually know how to participate in this in the correct way. And a lot of them don't even know that after a bronze board, you've got the silver. After the silver board, you've got the gold. And after the gold board, you've got the platinum. and it's a 4-board cycle. So once you've been through all of those boards, they'll be cycling perpetually, and that is where your gifts start coming in a passive way. But of course, we've got a lot of people that are on the bronze boards that are just cycling on the bronze boards. I've heard so many crazy stories about people pushing other gifting programs, but they're still using our boards and they're just making it cheaper. So that's happening as well. The amount of scammers and scamming, we could have never foreseen any of that. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because we had certain goalposts and certain things that we wanted to achieve. And then, of course, with all of these things that came up that we needed to deal with so that we could still have a GL going forward for a legacy and a lifelong, we had to kind of put things to the side and focus on security. Then we had to change things so that when you're inviting from a guard or a legend position, your invitees are going to go and help with cross-pollination. Now, cross-pollination was always something that we spoke about, and initially we called it a global washing machine, but we learned very quickly that washing machine in Asian countries means laundering money, so we needed to stay very clear from that. But we always spoke about cross-pollination. Was it in effect completely when we launched? No, because we just wanted to get boards moving, we wanted to get things going on, we wanted people to start receiving. And I mean, even us ourselves also needed to start receiving after all those months of slogging away with, all of our resources and nothing in return. So here we are. Here we are 5 months down the line, and some rules have changed from the beginning. But remember that everything that we do affects everybody. So if we've changed guards and legends inviting, and now their invitees are contributing to cross-pollination, that affects every single one of us. It doesn't just affect the masses and the elites, like some people like to call us, are not affected. Everybody's affected. So a perfect example is I'm a legend on a silver board. I have 4 gifters on the one side that came from an Italian lineage, and they were very quick to get there. But we've been sitting for the last 3 months, and they, with board chat, they were saying to me, what is happening? Where are all your people? Where's your invitees? And I was saying to them, I have invitees, but at the moment they're still getting through the bronze board. Only once they complete the bronze board as legends, then will they follow me onto the silver board. Then, of course, things changed, and I had to let my Italians know that unfortunately, only the builders on the board can be responsible for pushing their people on the bronze board below them in order to fill the board. So, of course, now I've got 2 people on my bronze board that want to jump. They've got the funds, they're ready to go. And I was so excited because I thought, yay, I can finally fill up the other side. And then I realized, oh, okay, they're going to be part of cross-pollination. So, of course, I was disappointed. It's a natural human reaction. But at the end of the day, those 2 people are going to help other people. And then after that, other people who are cross-pollinating are going to come to me. So even though things have changed slightly, there's still movement, and it's still to look after the betterment of this program. And, just to put you in the picture as well, a large group of people were just joining, and what they were doing as legends and guides is they were just inviting people and making sure that the legend accepted them for free. And we all know that this is a gifting community. And when you come in, the beautiful exchange of that $100 of an unconditional gift to a stranger is part of the beautiful journey that we go on. So now we've got other groups of people that are just accepting 8 gifters at a time, going. And before we knew it, we had lineages that were absolutely dominating boards. And what happened as a result of that? Well, I'm sure many of you that have been legends have experienced having to go through at least 100 gifters in order to complete a board where you just need 8. And that is because so many people just got put on, names were put on. Probably half of these people didn't even know that they were part of a gifting program, but they were there just to fill spaces. So we needed to put a stop to that, because exponentially it can happen really, really quickly that before we know it, half of Gift of Legacy would have been dominated by these people that aren't actually participating and contributing in any monetary way with gifting. And they were starting to bully people on boards, saying that they must be accepted for free. They used the guilt card, saying that they were in terrible ordeals, that there was war in their country, that their fathers been killed, and they would really work on people's sympathy to also try to be accepted. But we really had to put a stop to that, because before, I mean, look how quickly we grew to nearly 500,000 people. So I imagine that happened and we had boards completely dominated where we weren't even moving, and everything just came to a complete standstill and there was nothing we could do. So everything that we've ever done is so that we can leave a legacy. And, you know, the subject for this evening was your wealth of a legacy. And that means that this can really be passed on for generations to come. And our promise has always been to have a system that's not going to let us down. We moved from a precursor program over to Gift of Legacy because we were on a system that completely let us down. I mean, Chris and I had completed all 4 cycles. We were doing really well. I think Chris was cycling quite a few times already on the $1,000 board. And then a lot of his team started losing passwords. And we had absolutely no support from the precursor program. So everything literally did come to a standstill. And we had to make another plan. And for those of you that have been on the journey for this whole time with us would have known that for 3 to 4 months, we had nothing going on. We had the promise of Gift of Legacy, and we'd abandoned all our positions in the precursor program because we couldn't move forward if a lot of our lineages hadn't actually remembered their passwords and it got locked out. So we never ever want that to happen with Gift of Legacy. The name says it all. It is a gift of legacy, and we wanted to carry on for generations to come. So the good news is that I can let 2 little cats out of the bag this evening. The first one is we were all in Joburg together last week. We met up with a lot of new developers that are adding to our bouquet of what we do. So these guys are actually going to help us migrate the 400,000 emails over. And we are going to be able to start communicating with all of our community via emails. So we'll be doing email marketing. And then at least we know that every time we send out a Zoom link or every time something is changed, we'll be able to get the message right into your mailbox, which now we haven't really been able to do because we've got a Telegram group of about 25,000 strong, but we've got 400,000 members and no way of actually getting to all of them. So that's the first thing. We're going to have email marketing, which I'm very excited about. And then the next thing that we are busy working on is we are going to have a platform that's going to be exclusive to Gift of Legacy for chatting. So it will be Gift of Legacy's very own kind of WhatsApp or Telegram. And that will at least take us off WhatsApp and Telegram, because I don't know about many of you, but I've probably got about 20 Gift of Legacy groups that I'm on, and I have to keep up to date with all of them. And it gets a little bit tiring. So at least now, if we've got all 400,000 of our participants on this beautiful new platform where we can all chat together. I mean, I see so many people on some WhatsApp groups going, does anybody know this legend? We can't get hold of him. Now, at least with everybody all in one place, if we're looking for somebody, more than likely you're going to find their details on that platform. So those are 2 things that we're working on. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to launch those. So very, very exciting. And then in the next 6 months, we are going to have 2 incredible features, which are going to make everything flow really smoothly. They're going to take the pressure off people that don't want to be part of it anymore. And everybody that is here for the right reasons will be able to work together. So that's all I'm allowed to say for now. I would love to share more, but we don't have it solidified. And like I said to the team today, I'm not sharing anything with the community unless I've seen it working in staging and we know it's really going to happen. But I'm sure you can kind of join the dots together. And I am going to now just play what Tim said this morning. Whoops. Can everybody see Tim?
Tim here, coming to you from a rather chilly but beautiful south coast in South Africa. And I want to share a perspective with you this morning, a perspective of learning something new in order to appreciate it more. See, as you learn a new skill, new synaptic connections are starting to form in your brain. And as you become aware of these, new experiences start to form, things start to change around you. And as you remain engaged, these new neural networks start to be reinforced consistently. It's in the act of learning that you start to change and enrich your experience. After all, if you haven't learned anything new, your experience will probably remain the same, as your perception to it has remained the same. So whatever your reason was you joined GL, you're worried about the rising fuel price, the cost of living's going up, your job security. Attend 2 or 3 hours a week in some Zooms. Speak to a few people. If you don't expect to change. Don't expect any gifts to come in. Don't expect your board to flip. In fact, if you want change, you need to change. How do you change your perspective? Remain connected, learn something new, and then start to watch the magic.
And that is so true. That is so true. How can we expect change in our lives if we're not willing to put some of the work in? And initially we had hundreds of people on our Zoom calls. And now we're lucky if we get 100. But I'm still here. I'm still here to share the magic. And I think even if there were 10 people on this call, I would still be here because you guys mean the most and you're the most dedicated and you will have the most success. Remember, like we always like to say, that hot coal only stays hot when it is in the fire. The minute you take it out the fire, it tends to cool down very, very quickly. And even for myself, I will raise my hand and say that I have been guilty since coming back from Egypt and moving. My life has been very full and I haven't been able to attend a lot of the 8 o'clock Zooms. But I realized today, if I'm a leader and I'm telling people to join Zooms and to come to as many Zooms as possible, then I need to be the example that I wish to see in the world. So I'm dedicated to coming to at least 3 Zooms a week again. And it's the only way that we keep motivated and we keep excited and we keep inviting new people in. I met such a lovely lady today. She was selling a really cool chair for very, very little money. And she'd had to move out of the road that my parents were living in and into a place that, you know, she wasn't very proud of, not a great area. And she asked me what I do. And I was so happy to share that I'm part of such a beautiful community. And it was so easy to share it because I was speaking from my heart. I was speaking without expectation. I was just sharing what I do and how much my life has changed. Whether she comes to a Zoom call is up to her now. But I shared it because I knew that she was the kind of person that would grab this and go with it because her other options have run out. And so many of us have run out of options, or just looking at the state of the economy, man, oh man, it's scary. Just looking at the fuel prices. I mean, I know we pay a lot for fuel in South Africa, but just looking at the fuel prices in the States and just seeing how that is affecting so many people is quite scary. And just knowing that we've got a system that works, that really does redistribute wealth among so many of us, is just absolutely beautiful. And if you tell someone about this and you feel like you need to convince them, don't waste your time. You planted that seed. Move on to the next one. The other thing I wanted to mention is, if you are chatting about this to anybody, we get so caught up in how society's taught us to close the sale, because that's what it is. It's the energy of closing that sale and getting them to say yes and convincing them. We get so caught up in that energy that we forget that we don't just want anybody to join us. We don't want a space filler. And when you get into that energy of closing that sale, you invite those space fillers. So make sure that when you are telling people and you're sharing this with people, that they know that if they Google it, they're going to find negative reviews about us. And that's fine. There's negative reviews about everything that's good and everything that can change people's lives. So I always like to prepare people and just say, you know, gift of legacy and gifting communities are off the mainstream system, and we would prefer to stay that way. And if you go and Google this, you are going to come up with some negative reviews. So again, it's up to you to decide whether you're going to trust Google or you're going to follow your heart and remember the look in my eyes when I shared this with you, and trust a friend rather than somebody that's reviewed us on Google. So I've had great success with that if I just prepare people, because I find a lot of people that are Googling and they come upon an article and they find it, they feel like you don't know about it because you haven't mentioned it to them before. So they come back to you going, oh my gosh, I found this article. And I mean, it's old news for us. So rather prepare people, and then they won't even feel the need to go and Google something. But remember, we're humans and we're excited. And if we want to know something about anything, where do we go? We go to Google. But this is a new paradigm and Google is not going to support it. It's up to us to support it as the community that we are. All right. Can everybody hear me okay? Because everyone's freezing and I don't know if my reception is good. Can someone type it in the chat, please? I'm going to just change from one modem to the other. I learn so much when I go through these stats. Okie dokie, there we go. All right, can everybody see that? Just give me a thumbs up. All righty. So these are our stats from the 10th of January, actually to the 17th of June. I think I changed the dates on the other slides, but not this one. So it's the 10th of January to the 17th of June. So over here, we have all of our active users on all the boards. So that totals to 372,465 active users. So I think that is absolutely incredible. It's something, like I said, that we can be very proud of and go, wow. But at the same time, remember, Chris always likes to say, slow down to speed up. So I think we went too fast and we grew too quickly. And now we're just figuring out ways to make it work for us. But from that, we've got 96% of the people are on bronze, which is quite crazy if you think about it. We've got 4 boards, we've been going for 5 months, and 96% of our participants are on bronze boards. On silver, we've got 3.65%. On gold, we don't even have 0.5%. And on platinum, we've got 0.06%. But like we said, nobody said this is going to be a get-rich-quick scheme, but it is definitely going to be getting rich at the pace that you choose to take it. Everything is guaranteed with this. It's just obviously going to take a little bit of time. So if you've got people and you're building 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, you're going to get through this very quickly. And if you are going to take it slow and steady, it's just going to take a little bit longer. But like Angela always likes to say, what banking institution, if you give them $100, is going to give you even $1,000 back within a year? Not one of them. And that's just $1,000. Here we're talking about $47,000. So I've just got a little note here that I made. So on June the 10th, when I did the stats, it was 364,647. So that means that from the last time I did the stats in May to the 10th of June, we grew by 41,884 people. And just in this last week, we've grown by 7,818. So I remember in the beginning, at one stage, we were getting 12,000 signups a day. And that was just too quickly. So the fact that we've slowed down and we're still getting 7,800 people a week is actually much better for us in the long run. So bronze boards, if you want to have a look at the bronze boards, we've got, it says on the actual pie chart, 417,099. But of course, if you look further down, the users that are not on board, we've got 14.29% that aren't on. So that's people that have signed up but haven't physically joined the board. It could also be for people that have graduated or completed off the board and then just haven't re-entered. But that gives us a true figure of 357,495 participants that are on the bronze boards at the moment. On June 10th, we had 349,835, which means that we grew the bronze boards by 40,769 participants. And we've had 7,660 people joining the bronze board just in this last week. Now, what's quite amazing is, remember that percentage I told you about the silver boards, we go from like in the 350,000 right down to 13,597. If you look at the top, it says 24,757. But then if you look at users not on boards, we've got almost half of our community that is not on a silver board. And that is why we've got 13,597 active silver board participants. Last week, we had 1,017 that have joined in the last month. And then, of course, between last week Friday and this Friday, we've got 135 people from the bronze board that have joined the silver boards. So there's movement for sure, but one begs the question, why are our community not joining silver boards when they are completing the bronze boards? I mean, these stats show that there's so many people that are riding the bronze boards 2, 3, 4 times, but they are not joining the silver boards. And, you know, that's why we've brought fast tracking and we've changed fast tracking, because now when you get your first 4 gifts on silver, you can literally fast track. Obviously, you need for that, that to open up. But after your first 4 gifts, you can put yourself on the $400 board because you would have received your first $400. So for those of you that have got teams coming in or are still bringing in people, or even for yourselves, make sure that those first 4 gifts give you the opportunity to fast track onto the silver board, because then it's sorted. You've got your place. Maybe by the time you complete your bronze board, you would have gone up into a builder or even a guide position on the silver board, whereas before you would have had to wait for all 8 gifts before you can move on to the silver board and then, you know, start from a gifter. So now, while you are actively participating on your bronze board, as long as you've got those 4 gifts in, you can actually fast track onto your silver. And then it's the same with silver going on to gold. So really just get the message out there. Why would you only want to stop at $700 in your pockets? It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, in South Africa, $700 is a lot of money, probably all over the world, if you've got a crappy exchange rate compared to the dollar. But why stop at $700 where you could be putting $1,200 in your pocket on the next round, and then that $700 will be perpetual. And then going forward, if you go to the next round after that, to the gold board, you're looking at $11,200 in your pockets. So let's just get the word out there. Let's communicate with people. Use board chats. Board chat's going to take a long time before everybody knows that it's there. So board chat is where I use it mainly to educate people. I'll put on there how important it is to go from bronze to silver to gold to platinum, because so many people don't know. In support, we've got Melissa and Adele and Merle and Shireen and Brigitte and so many people, May and June and April, so many people that are helping, and they have to do the education and tell people that there's more to Gift of Legacy than just the bronze board. So I really appeal to everybody that watches us this evening just to get out there and educate about the power of actually moving up. And I'm going to show you the next stat, which actually blew my mind, which is the gold board. We've got 1,154 active users. You'll see at the top it says 4,800. 76% are not on the boards. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody that can go into gold didn't go into gold. Automatically, if you've got your 2 gifters and you've been confirmed on a silver board, you will change to a gold color. So that also talks about users not on board is that. It's not that everybody's decided now not to join a gold board. It's just that 75% of our community can actually fast track onto the gold board, but they haven't taken the opportunity. So we've got 1,154 active members. And if you look at the bottom, and I almost didn't want to share that, but it's really important that I do, because we had 83 new people join the gold board in the last month. And in the last week, not one person has moved from the silver onto the gold. Now, what is going on? This is definitely a lack of education. It's a lack of education and probably fear, because if you're getting $3,200 in gifts and you use $400 to go back in, you get to keep $2,800. But you're losing out on a huge opportunity to get gifts of $11,200. So again, the way that we've structured it is when you get your first 4 gifts on the 400 board, you can fast track straight away, take those 4 gifts, make sure that you're confirmed as a gifter on the gold board, and then at least that is set. So maybe by the time you complete your silver, you'll already be a builder or possibly a guard on that gold board, and it will just go a little bit quicker for you. So please, it's really, really important that we make sure that everybody that is coming into Gift of Legacy really understand the power of having those 4 boards all perpetually working for them. And then lastly, at least we've got some better numbers on the platinum board. And it just shows you that the people that are on the gold board and moving into platinum, they're almost like operating separately to the people on the bronze and the silver. Because people that are on the gold will definitely, when they complete the gold, they'll be going on to platinum because they've received, they totally believe in the program. And of course, they're not going to lose out on opportunity to go on to platinum. So we've got 220 active members on platinum boards. We had 33 join in the last month and then 6 last week. So 6 people completed on their gold boards, and they decided to do what's best for them and place themselves on a platinum board. And remember again, when you are receiving gifts as a legend on a gold board, after your 4.5 gift, you will be able to actually get onto that platinum board as well. So I really suggest that you guys do it, because at the end of the day, when you gift $5,000, you get $35,000 back. And oh my goodness, just imagine the beautiful things that you could do for your community, the beautiful things that you could do for your community around your hometown, and just so many people that we could help to get into this beautiful program. So let me go through some legends, because that's always super exciting. And just to see the amount of money that we've generated in the last 6 months with Gift of Legacy. So we have had 40,459 legends on the bronze boards, and they have received gifts of $800 each, which means that we have generated beautiful unconditional gifts to the value of $32,367,200. If you multiply that by 10, by 15, by 20, that is a lot of beautiful gifts that we've been able to change the world with. And that's just on the bronze boards. On the silver, we have so far, we've got 1,348 legends, and that totals $4,313,600 worth of $400 gifts received. And remember, we've only been going for 5 months, so I think that's pretty amazing. And then on the gold board, we've got 125 legends that have all received gifts to the value of $12,800 each, which means that the gold boards have generated $1.6 million worth of $1,600 gifts. And then lastly, we've had 29 legends that have all received gifts of $40,000 each, and that has redistributed I'm going to mess this up now, $1,160,000 worth of $5,000 gifts. So that is amazing. And to date, all in all, we have produced 41,961 legends across all of the boards. And we have created the most amazing amounts of $39,440,800 in 5 months of peer-to-peer, unconditional, and heart-to-heart gifting. I think that's incredible. And I'm just going to leave that on there for a minute because it's $39 million. $39 million. When we started out, we had no idea that in June this year, we would be talking about a redistribution figure of $39 million. So gift of legacy is real. The algorithm really works, and it is going to keep a legacy going for many, many, many years to come. All right, let me stop sharing. Okay, so does anybody have any questions on that for now? Because I'd also just quickly still like to go through the boards and how they work, because I don't think we've had training on that just yet. I know Jenny and Chris and Melissa did amazing training, but I'm just going to do it very simplified. And then if we've got any questions, like I said, Merle and Adele have volunteered to help. But of course, I always doubt myself that I could never fill an hour, and I can, which is great. Okay, so somebody's asked in the questions, what is cross-pollination? That is a great question. So we have never ever wanted Gift of Legacy to be like a network marketing scheme or MLM. And I think because the way that you build your community is by bringing two that bring two that bring two, a lot of the time it's got that network marketing feel to it. But we wanted to create something new, something that the world has never seen. And in network marketing, traditionally you would follow your lineage. So the person at the top would bring in all their people, and then it would literally be like a snake that goes around, and everybody that's coming underneath that head of the snake will follow them. And who's that good for? That's good for people that have got big networks and are great at networking. But we don't want to just look after those people. We want to look after everybody. We want to look after somebody that has trouble speaking to people about things, you know, somebody that's not a natural networker. We want to look after everybody because we want to change the lives of millions. So cross-pollination was always spoken about, that when you come in as a gifter and you bring in your community and you're building underneath you, because all of us must always remember that our success is not determined by the people that we join. The only person that you're helping when you join them is them, the people above you. So it's really important to make sure that the people that you bring in are the right people, because they are going to make or break your success. And it's all about the people that we bring in underneath us. So on the bronze board, that's what it's all about. It's about inviting your people, assisting them to invite theirs. And Tim made a comment this morning on a couple of the groups and said, you know, so many questions that we get asked on the groups or in support are available in our academy. Everything that you need to know is there. And I think when you get people to join, get them to go to the academy and learn as much as possible. Because if you know to go to the academy to look for answers, you'll be teaching them to do the same. And then their people that they bring in will be teaching their people to do the same. And it's all about duplication in a beautiful way that it can be so self-sustainable and supportive. So cross-pollination is, we originally discussed that when you get to legend and you complete your bronze board, you will go into the global cross-pollination, which means that you will go to the oldest board that's been waiting the longest, and you will land on that board. And then provided that you're a gifter or a builder, everybody that you've brought in with you will then follow you to that oldest board. So that is cross-pollination. However, it wasn't working fast enough or well enough. So again, with all of the scammers that I explained earlier with dominating the boards when inviting from guide or legend, we've now changed it so that when you are a legend or a guide, remember, everything is supposed to happen when you're a builder. That's why it's called a builder. So when you're a guide or a legend, one would presume that you've already got your 2 people. And if you don't, you can still invite people. They'll still count towards your invite count, but they will now contribute to cross-pollination. So they will go to the oldest board. And when they complete that first board, they will always come back to you and follow you, provided you're in a guide and a builder, a builder or a gifter position. Now, Shireen actually put a testimony out the other day because she wanted to test it. So I think what she did was she got a whole group of her team together and she said, let's do this properly. So she went in first, her 2 came underneath her, their 2 came underneath her 2, their 4 came underneath those 2, their 8 came underneath those 4. And exactly what happened was that when she completed the board, she communicated with everybody that she wanted to follow her, and she told them to either wait when she was in a legend position, and then told them when to actually join the board so that they could all follow each other. So you can still follow one another. It just involves a lot more communication. But what have we got? We've got community and we've got communication. A community can only grow and be successful if we communicate with one another. So that is cross-pollination, and it is there the people that maybe are having a tough time, that are not able to bring in their 2 at that point in time. And it will support all of us at one stage or another. But the one thing I must mention is whenever we spoke about the algorithm, we always spoke about it as a fail-safe, which means in the precursor program, what happened was when people joined and they abandoned their positions, we just got stuck with them. We either had to take them over ourselves, or we had to try find people that would take over the positions so that they could support them by bringing more people in. But it was a dead end, and it's another reason why it stopped. So here, we've got the algorithm that has the cross-pollination so that if ever a board does get stuck, it's not going to be stuck forever. Eventually, and I mean, if you look at the amount of boards that are on the bronze boards, there's over 40,000 bronze boards. The algorithm will eventually go to every single one of those 40,000 boards that could be standing still. But it's going to take a long time. And I've always said that gift of legacy is a tool. It's like having a tree, getting that chainsaw to cut down the tree, and then not using the chainsaw and looking at the tree and wondering why the tree's still there and it's not been cut down. So gift of legacy is a tool that can help you out of a financial situation or add to your life, but it's not going to save you. It can save you if you put in the work and you bring 2 that bring 2 that bring 2, and you really dedicated to training your people, to getting them to come to Zoom calls, to going through the academy. So your success can be really, really good, or you can just wait it out. You know, it's like a pension fund. We only get our pensions when we're 65. So, hey, if I have to wait until I'm 65 and not bring anyone in, I'll get my reward eventually, but we don't have to. This is such an amazing system. And all that we require is 2 people that get supported by 4 people, that get supported by 8 people, that get supported by 16 people. You know, and I've heard so many people saying, oh, I've brought in 7 people. Okay, cool. That's amazing. Fantastic. 7 people. Imagine how many people through that 7 people if they brought their 2. But then I go in and I look at the boards, or I look down the tree, the lineage tree, and I see, oh, but these 7 people all have very similar email addresses to the person that brought them in. Now, what does that mean? Did they bring their family and their dogs and cats in? And now they're saying that they brought 7 people and things aren't moving. But the 7 people need to each bring 2 people. So if you're putting 7 names in, you better make damn sure you've got 14 people to support that, and 28 after that. So even with this lady today that I was talking to, you know, I said to her that this is not for everybody. And when I explain it to you, it's going to sound network marketing, because it's how we've been trained to believe. The minute anybody says you need to find people, it's like, oh, this wall comes up. And we're like, oh, no, this is one of those things. I don't want to be one of those people. But if you share it with your heart, and you share it in a way that you make people believe it's going to change their lives in the way that it has changed so many lives. I mean, sure. I've forgotten the figure now, but nearly 50,000 legends in 5 months. That's pretty amazing. And it's not just us pulling actors out of a hat. It's real people. And if you just check that testimony group, boy, oh boy, will you see that it has changed the lives of many. So I'm going to pull up my board. Goodness, I just have to find it. I've got so many things open here. Give me 1 second. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's find it now. Okay, can you guys see that? Let me just. Okay, so this is what a board looks like. You've got your legend in the middle, you've got guide 1 on the left side, you've got guide 2 on the right hand side, you've got builders 1 and 2 on the left hand side, builders 3 and 4 on the right hand side, and then you've got your gifters 1 to 4 on the left hemisphere, and your gifters 5 to 8 on the right hemisphere. So when you are inviting as a gifter, let's just say you're a gifter number 1, and now you've taken the strategy of, because this works really, really well. You're a gifter, you've already got your person, you put your person in, they'll automatically land as close to you as possible, which means they'll land in position number 2. What you can do then is tell gifter number 2 that they bring in their gifter, and that will land next to them. And gifter number 3 will bring their gifter, and it will land next to them. And it will go all the way to gifter number 8. Now, the cool thing about that is if you're inviting as a gifter, when you get to builder, you're only responsible for inviting 1 more person. So it makes it a little bit easier. But everybody that comes in obviously needs to agree to that. In a perfect world, if you're a builder and you're builder number 1 and you are inviting, your gifters will automatically land on position number 1 and 2. If you are builder number 4 and you're inviting, your gifters will come to position number 7 and 8. Even if there are empty slots from 1 to 4, if you are builder number 4, your invitees will come as close to you as possible, which means that they will be in position number 7 and 8. The same with builder 3, their invitees will come in at 5 and 6, and builder number 2's invitees will come in at 3 and 4. So that's explained in the top. If you are inviting from a guide or a legend position, you will then be contributing to cross-pollination. But the good thing is, you can see these little half circles here. That means that this builder actually has one invitee already. And this one that has no color means that this builder's got no one. And this one that's got the full circle means that they've already got their two. So if these guides had to invite, their invitees would contribute to cross-pollination. They'd go to the oldest board, their people would follow them, but the circle would change and it would count for you with your invites. So if you don't have two invitees by the time you get to legend, you can collect all 8 gifts, but then you will be sidelined until you've brought your new invitees. So I'm just going to read from the left. Rule number 1, when inviting from gifter or builder position, your invitees will always land as close as possible to the inviter, provided there is space on the board. Rule number 2, when the direct position next to the gifter or builder is full, it will look for the next available slot on the entire board and place the invitee there. So let's say, for example, builder number 1 has now brought in gifter number 1 and 2, but gifter 2's already got their people and they want to bring them in, then the next available slot would be gifter number 3. If, for example, all of these are full and builder number 2 wanted to bring in somebody, then they would automatically go into the next available slot, which would be gifter number 5. So rule number 3, when inviting from a guide or a legend position, your invitees will contribute to our global community by cross-pollinating the oldest board, which will assist the algorithm in stimulating movement. The invitees can still follow their inviter on their next board, provided the inviter is a gifter or builder on their perpetual or higher boards. Rule number 4, when an entire board is full with no available gifter positions, so that means gifters 1 to 8 are taken up. And the reason why it's full is because it does take a little bit of time for the gifter to get hold of the legend, organize what payment gateway they'd like to use, and do the transaction. So that is the only time a board would be full. And in that case, then the invitees will join the oldest board again to stimulate movements and support the algorithm. And then rule number 5, like I've said before, the Gift of Legacy algorithm is a fail-safe system that is in place to serve as a backup for when members fail to grow their lineages. This is and never has been a system designed to be relied on for the generation of movement on participants' boards. So really, really important to remember that in order to move, you bring 2 that bring 2. And just something else that I want to address, because so many people maybe don't understand how the movement works. But if you bring 2 and you sit back and you say, okay, well, I've got my 2, nothing's happening, you've got to look at that, because if this builder brings in 2 and this builder brings in 2 and builder number 4 brings in 2 and builder number 3 brings in 2, when they move, they will be in the builder positions. And then the next people that they bring in will be a result of moving them into guide positions. And then the next people that get brought in will be the result of moving into legend position. So if you're just bringing 2 and sitting back, how are you going to expect to move? And I must say, the first 2 is a little bit of a challenge, but once you've got those first 2, you get into a much more relaxed state of mind because the pressure's off. And then you are able to share this with so many more people. But that is not the time where you sit back. That is the time where you get involved with the people that you brought in and you say, how can I assist you? Are you coming to Zoom calls? Have you watched this beautiful training? I mean, in the last month, we've done such incredible training, and I'm going to just share all of those links tomorrow sometime, because if you haven't watched any of the training that we've done in the last month, it's really vital that you do so. There is so much important information that we've shared in the last month about the way to use Gift of Legacy to your advantage. So it takes 2 from everybody in order to stimulate movement. It's not a case of, okay, I've got my 2 and now I can sit back. It's really, we grow in communities. It's something that's never been done before. All right, so I think that is me in a nutshell. And oh my goodness, we are at like the top of the hour. So how does it get better than that? So if anybody's got any questions quickly, just in the last 5 minutes, I see that Adele and everybody and Melissa and everybody's been really great at commenting and answering questions. But I hope that I've made everything clear, and I hope everybody has another a better understanding. And David, I'd love to give you another hour, except that I'm really going to have to pull rabbits out of hats. But I'm very excited to speak with Alan next week, because generational wealth is something that is a serious thing to consider. And I was pondering on it today, and I was thinking, wow, like for me, that means something completely different, because I don't have children. I don't intend having children, and my brother doesn't have any children. So who would I leave my legacy to? And of course, animals come first. So I was saying that, I was chatting to my husband, Terry, and saying I would definitely, absolutely leave my gift of legacy to animal shelters. And I would structure the will in such a way that they won't be able to just pocket the money. They would really have to buy food or enhance their premises, something that would really look after the animals. And then I realized as well, I've got a niece. Terry's got a sister that has a child. So she's going to be very lucky to inherit my gift of legacy as well. And so I just want you to think about that until we chat about it properly next week, that this is something so beautiful that we're sitting on. And it's not only going to benefit us, it's going to benefit everyone. And, for those of you that have worked your whole lives for your retirement annuities, and you get to retirement, how long is that money going to last you? I was a hairdresser, and I had a lot of little old ladies that I watched grow from, being self-sufficient to having to go into homes and having to rely on a lot of money to look after them. And so many of them prayed that they would die before their money ran out. And I mean, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to pray that I die before my money runs out. I want to have so much money that I can enjoy my last few years and leave so much to whoever made an amazing impression in my life. So think about that for the week. And next week, we've got Motivation Monday. We've got amazing training on Tuesdays and Thursdays where we go through the presentation. On Wednesday, I'm going to be doing training, and I am going to be going through the roles as you move through the boards. So all of your different responsibilities and how you can contribute to the community in a positive way through each round of the boards. And just sending you so much love, and thank you for joining me on this beautiful Friday evening. It's so wonderful to see so many familiar faces, and I'm committing to coming back to Zooms 3 times a week. So that's my commitment, and I urge you to do the same, because that coal ain't going to stay hot if it's not in the fire. So sending you so much love and tsunamis, and have a beautiful weekend. And remember, we're going to have an app where we can talk to each other. We're going to have incredible marketing that's going to reach everybody's mailboxes, and 2 really amazing things that are going to be incredible for the future of GL going forward. So love you lots, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye, everybody.